Can I really build a $1 million YouTube channel in the time it takes to record this video? Well, after over a decade of refining a very specific strategy, not only have I built multi-million-dollar YouTube channels, including my own, but I've unlocked a hidden pattern behind most YouTube success stories that you've probably never been told about. So I'm going to use this video to lay out that strategy and show you how it transformed a channel from $0 to $1 million in 18 months so you can implement it for yourself. While most people obsess over algorithms and subscriber counts, there is a secret society of channels that are quietly building $1 million businesses with surprisingly small audiences. I've spent years decoding this pattern across thousands of success stories. It really comes down to 4 critical elements that form what I call the code. So what does it stand for? Client, knowing exactly who your ideal viewer is. Offer, defining what you want to be known for. Differentiation, positioning yourself as a market of one. And engagement, creating content that converts viewers into clients, customers. Monetization on your own terms. So when mastered in the right sequence, this code transforms ordinary knowledge into limitless impact and income. And there are many examples I could share with you, like Maria Rosa, who has 1,000 subscribers teaching Italian, but in her words, she said, it's incredible to have people book calls with me through YouTube trying to sell me on why they should work with me without me doing any of the work to get them on the call. Or there's Alex and Beth, who help create successful cleaning businesses. And they said, in the last 30 days doing it the right way, we've done $27,000 in our business. Or there's Rich and Lucy, who are in a highly competitive niche of fitness, and they went from making $1,500 a month to over $1 million a year from their channel. But I thought it would be super powerful to share one particular story to show you the whole transformation and leverage AI to do so. So on April 26, 2021, Jeffrey shared, just this time last year, I was completely broke. We were struggling to even buy decent food for ourselves. I remembered lying down on the floor in my home office, staring at a whiteboard with my goal earnings on it. The number was $173,000 per year. That's all I wanted to make. This year, after only almost 4 months, we're hitting $350,000 in cash collected, which means we were trending above a $1 million mark for the year. So Jeffrey, amongst the other examples I shared, cracked the code and turned his relationship expertise into $1.2 million in 18 months, starting from 0 subscribers, 0 clients, and 0 audience. And in the last 4 years, his channel has gone on to generate $10 million completely organically. So I'm gonna use him as the example throughout this video to show you exactly how that happened, and again, how you can implement this strategy for yourself. And it all starts with a free AI tool that we've built to take this signature method, and it provides you with the core elements of a $1 million YouTube channel. And then it's inside of our free guide called the 10 steps to scale your skill set and 10x your impact. So comment, give me the guide below, and we'll send you the link to access it on demand. All right, so how do we define your $1 million audience? Pop quiz. What are the 2 answers at the core of building a $1 million YouTube channel? What does the algorithm need to know? The information you need to give it. This is gonna test how much you've actually been paying attention so far. Number 1, who you want to reach. Number 2, what you want to be known for. To build a $1 million YouTube channel, the first step is to understand who is your audience, who are the exact right viewers who will eventually become your clients or customers. This is where most people go wrong. They try to appeal to everyone and end up connecting with no one. To clearly define your audience and what they want from you, you need to focus on 4 specific factors. Number 1, your unique value proposition. Number 2, one specific ideal client. And number 3, the place on their journey where they're in the most pain. And 4, the precise outcome that they want. Don't worry right now about what you're gonna sell or how you're gonna monetize. We're gonna talk about that later in the video. These 4 critical factors are what are at the foundation of a $1 million YouTube channel. So let me show you how this works using our ideal client decoder tool, which you'll get access to in the free guide I mentioned earlier. So within minutes, the tool generates a complete ideal client profile that tells you exactly who to create content for and how to position yourself for success in the algorithm. So in Jeffrey's case, he wanted to create a YouTube channel focused on helping men save their marriages. And when I put in the answers to 3 simple questions using the ideal client decoder, here are the results that I got back within a few minutes. The unique value proposition is I help married men who feel their marriage is crumbling go from the brink of divorce and emotional isolation to a state of love, connection, and renewed intimacy with their spouse so they can enjoy a harmonious relationship that is resilient, fulfilling, and deeply supportive. So the one specific ideal client is a married man who is deeply committed to saving his marriage but struggling with communication and connection issues with his spouse. His primary challenges include frequent misunderstandings, emotional distance, and the feeling that his relationship is dwindling without hope of restoration. This man typically leads a busy lifestyle, often juggling career and family responsibilities, which may contribute to neglecting marital concerns. Number 2, one specific place on their journey where there is the most pain. This man is at a point of realization where the threat of divorce is no longer just a distant fear, but a likely reality. The urgency of his situation is driven by the sting of escalating arguments and emotional detachment, symptoms that have been ignored or misunderstood for too long. He knows enough is enough because the signs of distress in his marriage are louder than ever. Sleepless nights, constant stress, and the pain of seeing his spouse withdrawing emotionally. Number 3, this man's desired outcome is to rebuild a loving and intimate relationship with his spouse. He dreams of reestablishing a meaningful connection where both partners feel heard and appreciated, fulfilling their needs for love and belonging. And his deeper why is to create a nurturing environment for his family, providing emotional stability and experiencing the joy of a shared life full of understanding and intimacy. So your ideal viewers in this case are men who are experiencing a crisis in their marriage. Do you see how much detail is in that? So that was all delivered in a matter of minutes. So when you have this level of clarity about your ideal viewer, it transforms how you create content. Every title, thumbnail, and video becomes laser focused on addressing their specific needs, which is exactly what makes the YouTube algorithm work in your favor. So this precision is what allows you to build $1 million channel even with a relatively small audience, because you're not trying to reach everyone. You're reaching the exact people who need the precise solution you offer at the exact moment they need it the most. So, reminder, comment "Give me the guide" below and we'll send you the link to access our free ebook, The 10 Steps to Scale Your Skill Set and 10x Your Impact on Demand. And it includes that ideal client decoder tool that leverages AI to fast track identifying your perfect audience and the transformation that they're seeking from you so you can position yourself for success. So here's the critical piece that you need to understand here. Without understanding the key components of creating all of the elements of a successful YouTube strategy, you won't be able to implement or apply the power of this tool. I've been doing this work for a very long time, a decade now, and nothing makes me more excited than being able to support people in getting their unique message and genius out into the world to make a big impact while also building a business that grows while giving them their freedom to live their life on their terms. And that's why I'm gonna go really deep on this strategy in this video. So let's get into it. First, let's start with a really simple question. Cold, warm, or hot? What do I mean? So that now that you know your ideal viewer and who they are and kind of what makes them tick, it's really important to understand that not all of them are at the same stage in their journey. And we leverage something we call the YouTube content scaling funnel to understand how your audience falls into 3 distinct categories: cold, warm, and hot. So cold leads, which are up here, they are the furthest away from making any sort of buying decision because they're not in enough pain yet. They have a general awareness and interest, but no real urgency. They're attracted to content that focuses on what they think would help them versus what will actually help them. These are window shoppers. They're browsing, but not ready to commit. This is what we call top of the funnel, or we're gonna call it tofu. So this is where you create broad awareness, building content that introduces new viewers to you and your knowledge. So here, you want to share something valuable, but not leading to a direct sale since they're not ready for it yet. So the next step in the funnel is warm. And these leads are dipping their toe in. Think about it this way. They're in the store. They've opened the door. They're kind of looking around at what's available. They're a little further along on their buying journey, but they still lack enough pain or urgency to make a decision. So they're really in research mode to a certain extent. They kind of know that they need some help, but they don't know what they don't know, if that makes sense. So there's a level of education and nurturing needed in the content we create for them. So these folks have opened the door. They're looking around, but they're not quite at the buying stage yet. So we're gonna call this MOFU content. So middle of the funnel content. So this is where you want to supply more detailed educational content that builds trust and further nurtures your ideal audience and viewer. And then that brings us to the hottest leads. They're at the point where they're actually ready to buy. This will be your smallest audience. As you can see, it is the smallest audience. That is intentional. So that's where we have to disconnect the idea that YouTube success is about getting massive views, because actually some of your most profitable content will be the content that reaches the smallest audience, but the most targeted audience. Let that sink in for a second, because it's very, very true. So if you want to think about this visually, these viewers are at the cash register with their card out, just waiting for you to show up and serve them so they can invest into the solution that they need, and you become their trusted authority. So these hot leads are at the bottom of the funnel. These are your hottest viewers, and we're going to call this BOFU content because it's bottom of the funnel content. So this is where content should be narrowly focused with a specific call to action to buy a product or a service or invest further in working with you. So by creating content for each of these three levels, you're actually building a complete YouTube funnel that can turn strangers up here into buying clients down here. And this is exactly how my clients have been able to generate consistent sales from their YouTube channels without needing a big audience or millions of views. And we start by targeting the hottest viewers because this does something very important in the algorithm. We call it the hockey stick. So we call this the hockey stick because it works to essentially build your authority in the algorithm to create this kind of hockey stick trajectory in reaching more of the right people. But it has to start here, which is search traffic. So this means this is for your hottest or bottom of the funnel content because it's the most narrow. Why is that so important? Well, it brings us back to the first point, which is this content is going to inform the algorithm the most of who you're trying to reach and what you want to be known for. And when you do that, the algorithm then starts working in your favor. And that search traffic then leads to the right targeted audience subscribing to your channel, watching your videos. And then as you create more content and we get a little bit more middle of the funnel, we start to pick up suggested traffic. So this means that these subscribers then start seeing more of your content, these viewers seeing more of your content, they start watching more of your videos as time goes on. And as this little army of viewers and subscribers grow, then it leads us to browse traffic. So this means that we're now expanding well beyond your little audience, and the algorithm is working in your favor through suggested and through browse and through search now to bring in even more viewers. And this browse generally gets triggered by more top of the funnel content. Any of these levels can trigger any of these search sources or traffic sources, but this is generally the pattern you want to follow, whether you're a new channel or you're just trying to re-engage an old channel or you're finding that your content isn't converting or working. It's probably because we haven't followed this in the right order. So this process creates that hockey stick momentum in the algorithm, so the algorithm knows who you're trying to reach and it can then serve you up to more people through all three traffic sources working together. So this brings us into, okay, well, how do we actually define our position in the algorithm and make sure that we are informing it with the right information? So the entire goal of your YouTube strategy is position yourself as the go-to person where people don't even consider other sources because you're the only one who truly understands their situation and actually has the experience to help them. So in short, you need to become a market of one. But how do you actually do this? Well, doing so, it's going to eliminate the competition because you're continuing to carve out your unique space where no one else can compete with your specific approach. So there is a formula to creating a market of one channel and market of one content. And it looks like this. It is command authority, first and foremost, create polarization, and then show transformational power. This equals market of one content. So let's break down each of these elements. First and foremost, commanding authority. Your content has to present insights that feel like a revelation, not just advice, okay? Because people can get that for free anywhere. So you want to share proprietary frameworks, unique methods, or counterintuitive insights. You want to use industry expertise to correct common misconceptions. You want to make viewers feel like they've unlocked a cheat code or an insider secret by listening to your content. Number two is creating polarization, which kind of feeds off of that. So taking a stand that disrupts the mainstream thinking or industry thinking. So challenging conventional wisdom in your niche, introducing a bold new perspective that forces the audience to rethink their assumptions, or pushing against common myths or generic advice that doesn't really work. Okay, and then finally, it's showing transformational power because it's introducing a unique emotional reconnection method with total proof of success. So to take this to another level, we could actually transform that content topic of that title into how I helped Sam rebuild his marriage without begging or therapy. This is a market of one topic because it's actually showing a real life example and the real transformative power of what you would do. So you might be thinking, but what about SEO and keyword research? Don't I need to spend hours researching the perfect keywords and title to figure out the right content topics? I want to bust this myth right now. So obsessing over traditional SEO and spending hours on keyword research is something that, yes, absolutely, I have been a proponent for. I think is still important and has a place, but we can do it in a much more efficient and effective way, especially leveraging AI today. So let's go back to the example that we're working with, which is men saving their marriages. If we were to create a video, let's say with the title, "The Truth About Winning Your Wife Back," we wouldn't just pick that title based on keyword volume alone. Instead, we'd confirm it's the right choice by evaluating a few critical factors. Let me dive into those. So number one, does it stand out? This content will definitely pop because it directly speaks to men in urgent crisis, giving them a structured plan that they can follow when other experts are maybe only offering broad or general advice. And number two is, can we actually use keywords for discoverability? So with this topic, there are plenty of keywords that would work, including phrases like winning your wife back. However, this is just one piece of the puzzle, not the entire strategy. And number three, is there a lot of competition for this topic? The best topics enjoy a medium or lower competition, especially as you're starting out. You don't want to dive in the deep end and try and be seen amongst a sea of content. Plus, using a unique angle with it will help you stand out in a very crowded space. Number four, is there demand for the topic? So you can quickly validate your content topic idea simply by checking whether similar videos, books, blogs, anything on the topic have already gained a little traction with your target audience. And number five, is there genuine value for the viewer? That is the most important question you can ask. So any piece of content you create needs to deliver a ton of genuine value with a unique perspective based on your own experience and credibility. So it gives them practical steps towards a positive outcome, which in this case is saving their marriage. So looking at these 5 critical factors, it makes it more robust in how you select the right topics versus simply just chasing the keywords alone. So that is a part of the strategy. It's not the only strategy, especially now with more content creators than ever before. You have to have that market of one approach overall. Now, once we define the topic and we kind of go through this process, then it's about the power of packaging your content. So when it comes down to it, packaging your videos in a way that's going to attract the right viewers and get the clicks comes down to a combination of your title and your thumbnail. Both work hand in hand to attract that ideal viewer and lead to a stronger click-through rate, which is the key metric to success in the beginning. So that really dictates all of the other metrics. If we don't have a click-through rate that's strong, nothing else is really going to tick along with the video. So let's begin with the title. It is worth noting that there is a big difference between a content topic and a title. So content topic starts here, which we just talked about with the market of one. That kind of leads us into creating a strong title. So I'm going to illustrate this using our marriage example. We might have a topic like how to save your marriage when your wife has left, but this isn't quite good enough for a title which needs to be sharper and a little more curiosity driven. So for example, to take our market of one approach a step further, we can use an actual example of someone you've helped, like I said earlier. So it could be something like how Sam saved his marriage without begging or therapy. So this title works for several reasons. First, it uses a personal story, which always keeps things more credible, real, and relatable. And the without in all caps increases curiosity and highlights how this video will not just be another solution you've heard 1,000 times before. And finally, the saved his marriage focuses on a specific outcome. So now let's take that and the strength of the title and combine it with a strong thumbnail. There's really a need to understand all of the elements of creating a strong visual because it really is a billboard and people are either going to drive past it or they're going to click on it and stop. So number one, we start with a strong visual contrast. So thumbnails that stand out usually in the sea of other videos on YouTube, they attract attention. So how do you do this? You want to use things like high contrast colors. It could be black and white, or it could be red and yellow. Dark backgrounds with bold, bright text or subject matter tend to draw the eye. So color combinations should not be too overwhelming, but they should create a clear focal point. Number two, readable. This seems simple, but it's important. So thumbnails with text communicate the value of the video in a clear, direct way. So you want to instantly convey the benefit or the emotion of the video, but you don't want to repeat the title in the thumbnail. That's unnecessary. You essentially want people to see the thumbnail and nothing else, no title, nothing else, and know what the video is about and why they should click on it. That is the goal of it. So don't just repeat the title of the video, make it unique and make it something that is valuable for whoever's seeing it to actually take the action to click. So how to tactically do this? You want to do things like large, bold text with a simple message, ideally no more than 4 words on the thumbnail as well, and it should match the outcome of the video or the intent of the video. So it should be readable as well on even mobile devices, because consider how many people are watching on mobile and it's super, super small screens. So your thumbnail has to stand out. And if we have too much text on it or too many images, it's not gonna work. The next piece is expressive. So what I mean by that is expressive faces and emotions. They tend to create a psychological connection, which make the viewer want to click. It makes them curious and excited. And remember, it's called YouTube. So people are on here because they wanna relate to other people. So close-up images of people showing strong emotions or acting out whatever it is in the video that you're talking about. Thumbnails with human faces tend to get higher click-through rates, tend to get higher engagement. So people are really wired to pay attention to faces. So you want to aim for expressive, faces, emotions, something that looks like it tells a story just in that one image. Number 4 is numbers and words. So people are really drawn to, again, simplicity and having a simple number to depict what you're talking about, if it's kind of a listicle thing, or a simple word that really represents the intent or outcome of the video is super important. So things like 3 tips, 5 secrets, top 10, and oftentimes a number-backed statement is a little bit more clickable for whatever reason. It's human nature. So like I said, things like 5 quick fixes for X problem or 10 hacks to achieve X. So really keeping it concise and simple for that readability factor, but also conveying what they're going to get out of it. So number 5 is kind of, again, I'll express that again. It's simple and clear visuals. Thumbnails have to convey the video's theme in less than 3 seconds. So too much clutter is going to overwhelm viewers and they're just going to scroll right on past it and click on the next video. So don't make it overwhelming. Keep the visuals clean and focused. 1 main focal image, that's it, that's all. You can't have a bunch of different things on it. It's gonna be distracting, it's not gonna show up on mobile, it's gonna be a problem. So avoid unnecessary details that don't actually matter and aren't required to kind of portray visually what's going to happen in the video. And that brings us to 6, which is a striking or promising value or curiosity. So they should really give the viewer a reason to click by offering either value or sparking their curiosity. So you want to use visuals and text to imply a benefit, a solution, or a mystery that is going to be solved in the video, or myth that's going to be busted in the video. So things like, this will change your life, or can you guess what happens next? So psychological triggers, things that use intrigue, will help the viewer make the decision that this is the one they want to click on because they actually really need to know what's in the video. So when you combine all of these elements, that makes up your packaging. And when your packaging is perfectly aligned with what your ideal viewer is searching for, emotionally, psychologically, you're going to see your click-through rates skyrocket. So this in turn tells YouTube to show your content to even more of your ideal audience, creating that virtuous cycle of growth that we call the flywheel. If you're not familiar with it, let me show you. So the flywheel looks like this. It starts with your ideal viewer, so who you want to reach, and then what you want to be known for, so your relevant content for that ideal viewer. So when you make relevant content for the ideal viewer, that then leads to algorithm categorization. And what that means is that the traffic sources I mentioned earlier, so search, suggest, browse, they start to work for you on YouTube instead of you having to work so hard, because you're feeding the algorithm with the right information to categorize your channel, to leverage its internal traffic sources to show your content to even more of your ideal viewer. And that's what creates this flywheel effect of momentum. And it's kind of a snowball. When you stick with YouTube and you create the right kind of content, this inevitably is going to create that momentum, that hockey stick growth. So now let's talk about what goes inside the video. This is really important as well, but of course you need to get the clicks to get somebody to watch the video, so they all work hand in hand. So the actual video content itself, this is where our signature hot script formula comes in, and it stands for hook, outcome, and testimonial. So I'm going to show you how this works with our example of how Sam saved his marriage without begging or therapy. So for example, the hook, which is the absolute most crucial piece of this, it's the first 10 seconds. It might be something like, Sam was 1 argument away from divorce. His wife had emotionally checked out, and no matter how hard he tried, flowers, heartfelt talks, even therapy, nothing worked. But then he did something unexpected and it changed everything. And then the outcome would be something like, by the end of this video, you'll know the exact 3-step strategy that Sam used to reconnect with his wife and rebuild his marriage without begging, chasing, or endless therapy sessions. And then the testimonial will add credibility and authority. So I've helped thousands of men fix their relationships using this method. And the best part, it works even if your partner seems completely distant right now. So the first 30 to 75 seconds of your video is absolutely crucial. It's the most important part, because if people don't watch that, they're not watching the rest of the video, meaning that your video's going to just fall by the wayside. No one's ever going to watch the rest of it. And that's not going to help the algorithm actually push it to more people who are your ideal viewer. So really, it's the difference between a viewer watching your entire piece of content or jumping to the next option. So strong opening like this one increases audience retention, boosts engagement, and it starts to really get picked up in the algorithm to reach more of those people that you want it to reach. So that structured flow makes the video really compelling. So that is crucially important to understand. It's not just what you package the video like, then people actually have to watch it for it to succeed. So this now brings us to monetizing from day one, because this pairs hand in hand with what's inside the actual video. So first and foremost, we have to pair specific and targeted YouTube content with a transformational offer that allows you to monetize from day one, like I said. So think of your videos as tiny little puzzle pieces, and your program, your offer, is the 1,000-piece puzzle completed and hand delivered to them. It's the total transformation. So YouTube videos are the what, and your program, your offer, is the how. And this could be anything from a digital program to one-on-one consulting or coaching, whatever it may be. So to move your viewer to the next stage, you want to include strategic call to action. So the CTA you use is going to depend on where your video falls in the content scaling funnel. Cold, warm, hot, and again, tofu, top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, and bottom of the funnel. So where does it land? And then you determine what the CTA will be to get the most from that video in terms of taking viewers and turning them into potential clients or customers. So for top of the funnel videos, your CTA might be for the audience to download something a little bit low friction and easy for people to digest, like a PDF, a guide, or a checklist. For the middle of the funnel, the CTA might be a video training or a webinar, which is going to provide more education, and it requires more from the viewer to actually take action on it, because they're more serious. And the bottom of the funnel might be an invitation directly to book a call or directing people to your offer. Like I said, whether that's an online program, one-on-one coaching, etc. So it's really important to understand that this needs to be value driven, because people aren't just going to click or take action to take action. So it could be something like, if you're ready to stop the downward spiral and want a clear, personalized plan to get your wife to reconnect with you, let's talk. In this free reconnection session, we'll identify the hidden patterns causing disconnection, create a step-by-step roadmap to rekindle attraction and rebuild trust, and we'll discuss the exact shifts that you need to make so your wife sees you differently without manipulation or gimmicks. So click the link in the description below to book your free reconnection session. So that keeps it simple, value driven, so they know they're actually going to get something out of it, which makes them more excited to take that action, and it gives people an opportunity to connect with you directly and go from viewer to potential client. And this brings us to actually creating the content. Isn't that wild how much has to go into it before you actually film? Filming's the easy part. So you want to keep it really simple. Now that you know what to say in your videos, let's talk about how to actually create the videos. So many people get stuck in gear paralysis, thinking they need expensive equipment and elaborate setups before they can start their YouTube journey. So this mindset is one of the biggest barriers to getting started. And let me let you in a little secret. I am not a superhero. I absolutely film my videos in small chunks. And anytime I screw up, I clap like this, so that it makes it a little bit easier to edit out the flubs. Remember, we are not Steven Spielberg. The value of what we say and share in our videos matters a lot more than the production value at the end of the day. I started with a window and a webcam that got me to my first 50,000 subscribers and beyond, truthfully. So I'm a big proponent for keeping it simple and accessible so that you reduce the friction in actually creating your videos that are going to be able to reach people and make a big difference. Because at the end of the day, a really fancy and expensive camera doesn't matter if your content isn't actually valuable to your ideal viewer. What truly matters is whether your message resonates with the specific audience you're trying to reach. So again, you do not need an expensive studio. Your video's message, clarity, and engagement drive success, not flashy production. Because truthfully, I've tested all different things. I've had high production, low production, all the things. YouTube prefers authenticity over perfection. So high production can sometimes actually reduce your relatability. And it's called YouTube, again, for a reason. Viewers are connecting with real people who provide real value. Sometimes a highly polished video can even create a little distance between you and the viewer. Now let's go to the video optimization. So beyond the actual video itself, now we're actually going to put it on to YouTube. And this part is really important. So we're going to call this optimization, although every single piece of what we're doing has been optimized for this step and for success. So to really maximize your video's reach and impact, you need to, like I said, optimize everything around it. So it includes the elements the viewers might not even see, but that significantly influence that YouTube categorization in the algorithm. So the metadata you include with your video, everything from descriptions to tags and other back-end elements, they work silently to help your perfect audience find you and to help YouTube find them for you. So I want to kind of break down how to optimize these three crucial elements. Number one is a well-written description. It increases traffic and watch time. It helps YouTube's algorithm understand your content and properly categorize it for search, suggested, browse, all of the different traffic sources. So your description should include relevant keywords naturally while providing value and context about your video. And then tags help categorize your video and make it discoverable to your ideal viewer. So tags aren't just one word, they can be a full keyword phrase to help the algorithm understand, and they have to be relevant to the video. If you put irrelevant keywords or tags to try and get more reach, YouTube will flag it. So congruent metadata, meaning the metadata that matches the content of the video, is absolutely crucial. So that brings us into post upload. And this might sound like, okay, it's the end of the road, we have nothing left to do. But no, now that you've created your optimized content, it's time to focus on what happens after you hit publish. So many creators make the mistake of thinking their job is totally done at this point, but in reality, it's really just the beginning of the strategic work. So the biggest crucial factor here is distribution, and it's critical for your video's success. So external traffic boosts YouTube rankings. So internal traffic sources, like we've talked about, they matter the most, but external traffic sources are driving traffic to your video. And the more YouTube sees that, the more it's gonna actually prioritize your content. So the first 24 hours after publishing your video are the most important for maximizing YouTube's algorithm push. This initial surge of engagement signals to YouTube that your content is valuable and worth promoting to a wider audience. So more links equal higher rankings. The more links to your video from external sites, blogs, and forums, the more search engines favor it. So this cross-platform approach creates multiple pathways for your ideal viewers to discover your content. This allows you to really understand, okay, now that my video is uploaded, now that I've distributed it, I've got all of these traffic sources working for it, external, internal traffic sources. Now this helps us understand the full picture of what's working and what's not working. And this is crucial to long-term success on YouTube, analyzing. So let's talk about how we analyze the metrics in the data. If we don't analyze the metrics on YouTube, we're sort of flying blind. So if you aren't monitoring them, you're not going to grow, period, end of story. You need to know which videos are driving growth and building authority for your channel, and you cannot miss the signals, because if you do, again, you're going to be just creating content to create content, and it puts you in an endless hamster wheel. So your performance on YouTube is not based on emotions or gut feelings, although it might feel like that. It's based on data. So you need to understand your KPIs, your key performance indicators, to identify trends and double down on what works and refine what doesn't. So a data-driven approach is the key to, again, stability and long-term success with your channel. So I want to break down the key metrics and how they work in a very specific order. So number one is your click-through rate. It measures the percentage of people who see your video and thumbnail and actually click on it. And it can be broken down by specific traffic source, which is really helpful. So a good CTR falls typically between 2 and 10%. And remember, a viewer can't watch your video if they don't click on it first, which is why optimizing your thumbnail, your packaging, your title is so important. Which then brings us to retention. So retention measures how long the average viewer stays on your video. Above 40% retention is considered very strong in most niches. So YouTube actively promotes and demotes based on poor retention or good retention. If people click but don't stay, your ability to reach more people is going to drop really, really quickly. So to improve retention, you want to use things like the hot script formula to have a really effective hook to keep people tuned into the whole video. And that directly affects watch time. Watch time is the total number of minutes viewers spend watching your video. So this prioritizes you in the algorithm if YouTube recognizes that you are getting high watch time because you're keeping people on the platform longer. So to increase it, you want to create binge-worthy content, and you also want to make sure you're leveraging things like end screens and cards to get people to watch more of your content and stay on your channel, and most importantly, stay on the platform. So these 3 key metrics directly affect the next metric, which is subscribers. This isn't your most important metric really at all. I've talked about this a lot, but it does give you some interesting data to work with. So if we know which videos are generating the most subscribers, it's actually telling us which video topics are resonating the most. And that's where we want to sort of narrow our focus to create even deeper authority inside of the algorithm. So these people who are subscribing, they want to see more of that kind of content. So that tells you to create more of that kind of content, if that makes sense. Then that leads us into views, obviously. So we have our subscribers, we understand what they're actually clicking on and subscribing for. And again, that's going to then lead us into creating the right kind of topics and doubling down on the topics that matter the most. But do keep in mind the funnel, because your bottom of the funnel content is not going to get the most views. And so it's a tricky metric to measure. It does not mean everything. I would absolutely say these 2 metrics would be the most important to focus on. And then from there, once all of these sort of are working together, that also leads us into velocity, which again can be a very tricky metric because velocity won't happen on every level of content. Velocity means that when you upload it, it's how many people are watching in a certain period of time. So high velocity means you're getting somewhat of a viral reaction and you're getting a bit of a broader audience wanting to tune in. So you're gonna see more of the velocity happen here, but you will be able to see over time average velocity to your videos, and staying within that range is a really important thing to start looking at to see if you're making things in the right way, if you're making content that people care about on your channel and is targeted for your ideal viewer. And a big way that you can increase velocity is actually by leveraging distribution, which we talked about earlier, by leveraging all of your other audiences or traffic sources externally to drive traffic to the video. And that's going to lead more people to watching it and increasing that velocity in the first 24 hours, which then dictates to the algorithm that it's a really good piece of content. Now, how does all of this, if you're still here, come together? So we'll remember Jeffrey, who I mentioned at the very beginning of this video. So he implemented this strategy to create a channel that has had 0 subscribers at the beginning when we started working together. And in the last 4 years, his channel has gone on to generate $10 million completely organically with no ads, just strictly from his channel. So again, this isn't guesswork or magic, and it's not a one-off thing. It is a very strategic blueprint, and I hope you're gaining that and understanding that from this video. Is it easy? No. Is it systematic? Absolutely. And does it get really easy with time and you start to look at the metrics and know what's working? For sure. So now you really do have that understanding of the overarching strategy to build a successful YouTube channel that you can monetize from day one. And always bring it back, always center all of this inside of that code, cracking the code, which is client, knowing exactly who your ideal viewer is, offer, defining what you want to be known for, differentiation, position yourself as a market of one, and engagement, creating content that converts viewers into clients. So we've helped thousands of people all over the world achieve this kind of success, and our clients have generated well over $211 million in sales by monetizing their unique genius through YouTube. And the path to creating $1 million YouTube channel is really clear. Identify your ideal viewer, create relevant content that meets them at their appropriate stage of awareness, optimize your packaging, implement a powerful content structure, distribute strategically, and track the metrics that matter. So if you're ready to position yourself as a market of one, it all starts with the biggest key, your ideal viewer, which you can identify in a matter of minutes, as I mentioned, with our free AI tool. So be sure to comment, give me the guide below, and we'll send you the link to access it on demand. I'm very excited for you. So thank you for joining me today, and make sure to watch my next video about how I made $30 million on YouTube without millions of views. You check that out here. Thank you so much for watching, and let me know what your takeaways were. I love to hear them. They're my love language. Leave them in the comments. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.